Thunderbolts' mid-credit scene was funny and the end-credit scene was important, and the longest end credit scene in the history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, it was both funny and pretty important for the upcoming movies as well. But how? Let's talk about it in this quick video. So we'll first start with the mid-credit scene. Now, the mid-credit scene was a joke because if you remember, the first time where Alexei takes his limo, his rescue car, to the other Thunderbolts to get them back, that time he talks about forming a team, that this is what we have now and this could be a proper team. And then he goes on to say that we can market ourselves in such a way, but there he specifically talks about VT's box. Now, I don't know what VT's is, but I think it's some kind of a cereal or some kind of a breakfast item. So yeah, he talks about having their picture on a VT's box, that means on a cereal's box.
This team can be the heroes on the Wheaties box with the little kitty toy.
But that was all in the taste of marketing themselves, and this is exactly what happens in the mid-credit scene. In the mid-credit scene, we have the character of Alexei. He's in a supermarket, there is an aisle, there is a lady, and that lady is looking for some things. And Alexei, we all know how he wants to be famous, how he wants to be recognized, and now he is an Avenger. I mean, it is funny to look at, but it is deep rooted in sadness, and this is what I've talked about in my review as well, spoiler free review. You can check that video out here as well. But yeah, that was just a joke there. Alexei goes out to that lady and says that you can check out this VT's box, and that VT's box obviously had his face on it. Now, before we talk about the end credit scene, we need to talk about what happened at the very end of the Thunderbolts movie. At the end of the movie, the Thunderbolts were renamed as the New Avengers. That means this team of misfits, which were known as the Thunderbolts in this movie, are now the New Avengers. Yeah, that's true. And now coming back to the post-credit scene, at the start of the post-credit scene, we see that it has a time jump of 14 months. That means it has been 14 months since the New Avengers have been deployed. And in this 14 months, a lot of interesting things have happened. First of all, starting off with Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson, if you remember in the Captain America Brave New World, at the end of the movie, he was on his way to bring back the Avengers. He was on his way to rebuild the Avengers team. And therefore, he has filed a lawsuit against the New Avengers against using the name Avengers. That means the New Avengers can't use the name Avengers in their name. And then the team was also discussing about what the discourse is on the internet, on social media, and they were also talking about when the Avengers return, what will happen to them, where they're going to be part of the Avengers team or what will happen to them. Then we have the Red Guardian, Alexei, come in, and he shows up with this new uniform that has the name New Avengers, but at the end of the Avengers there is a Z added, and he says it also spells like Avengers, but the spelling is different, so therefore the lawsuit can't contain this. But amidst all this, two important things happen. First, Yelena says to Bucky that you should talk to Sam about the lawsuit, and Bucky says, yeah, I've talked to Sam, but he won't listen. Now this gives us an indication that maybe all is not well between Sam and Bucky. I may be reaching too far, but the second most important thing happens, and this is where things get really interesting. We're at the end of the post-credit scene, and we see Yelena talks about the space crisis. But what is the space crisis? Now the whole multiversal saga has been gearing up to that big multiversal war, and from the movie Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, we know for a fact that incursions are happening around the universes. There are different universes colliding with each other and therefore destroying themselves. So therefore we can clearly assume that the space crisis Yelena Belova's character was talking about is definitely the incursions. And in the very next scene, we get the mention of an extra dimensional spaceship or entity traveling towards us, and that spaceship is of the Fantastic Four. Now we have to talk about the Fantastic Four movie. Now if you don't know, the Fantastic Four movie is the next movie that is coming out from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it is releasing on 25th of July this year. And there are two things you need to know about the Fantastic Four movie. Number one, the movie takes place in a different universe. It is not our 616 universe, it is not our Earth 616, it is a different universe. And number two, it is going to be a retro futuristic universe. Therefore, in the trailers of the Fantastic Four movie, we can see that 1970s and 80s vibe, but still some of the tech feels very advanced. That is the retro futuristic world that they have in a different universe, in an alternate universe, and it is not our Earth 616. And it is highly speculated that in the Fantastic Four movie, at the end of the movie, Galactus will eventually devour their universe, devour their world, and the Fantastic Four along with some other characters will escape their universe, and while doing so they enter our universe, that means Earth 616. And the scene that they showed at the end of the post-credit scene of the Thunderbolts movie might well be the scene in which those Fantastic Four characters enter our universe at the end of the Fantastic Four movie, which is coming out in a few months. In the next video we'll talk about how this end credit scene might well connect to the Avengers Doomsday movie, and you can also check out my spoiler free review of the Thunderbolts movie right here or here. Check it out. Thank you so much for watching.